Hi there. I'm Jamie. I'm a breathwork facilitator, trauma informed. I teach breathwork, meditation, somatic healing, and today I want to talk about surviving panic attacks. So, before I start, I just want to remind everybody that you are entitled to your own experience. So, what I have felt and gone through is my own experience. What you've been through is completely different. We're never here to compare, to judge. It's just to use insight for a resource and maybe to help you have some support and know that you're not alone and what you can do if you find yourself in a situation like this in the future. So, as I said, I'm entitled to my experience and I'm going to share my experience, but that doesn't mean that yours was anything or in the future would be anything like mine. Know that some of this might resonate, so take what resonates and leave what doesn't. So it doesn't mean that it's for you. So when I speak on panic attacks, I, in the past, struggled and at times still do with anxiety, but I never knew the dynamic and I didn't know anything about panic attacks, to be honest, besides hearing from other people what their experience was. I had no personal insight. And when I experienced a panic attack, it was just a couple weeks ago. So it wasn't something that happened years ago and then I learned breath work and I healed and it never happened again. I feel like I'm very resourced. I know I am. And I do the tools to stay grounded. And I experienced a panic attack. So I just want to be clear and honest that we have to let go of the judging of ourselves. Like what starts to happen when we go through something like that is that thought process, our mind might start chirping at us and it may begin to tell you you're weak, you're not healed, what are you doing? You don't even have the right tools. Why is this happening to you? I thought you were strong. A lot of things. The mind just takes over. So leading up to the panic attack that I experienced, I have had a very stressful year so far. From this past December until now. And at the same time, I've experienced miracles. I've experienced amazing things. So I don't live every day as like, of the bad that has happened. I really, with the work that I've done with breathwork, have shifted my focus and I look at the positive and the good. And that's how I live my life. But I do have to remember that those traumatic things have affected my system. So they are stored in my body and there are tools and systems to use to release the trauma so that it doesn't build up. So I didn't realize that this trauma from some really major family emergencies that happened have been in my body. And I've just powered through it. I show up, I'm there, taking care of my family, my mom, doing a lot of things. So I honestly thought, hey, I breathed through it when it was happening. I'm good. I'm fine. But as things are becoming a little calmer and my routine is slowing down a little bit, my body began processing the trauma. And I woke up with just major anxiety that I've never felt that strong in at least a while. So I was like, all right, I'm going to sit down. I'm going to do some breath work. Well, the breath work felt awful. The music that was playing that I chose to play for my little breathwork session to release the anxiety, awful. And I'm like, okay, we're going to shut off the music. We're just going to be done. Then all of a sudden, the symptoms that I now know or a panic attack, became very dizzy, very nauseous. I got myself close to the bathroom because I felt like if I passed out, at least I was on carpet. And if I threw up, I was close to a toilet. I was sweating, dripping sweat. I could not breathe. I closed my eyes. I was dizzy. I had to look. So I was gazing out in front of me and I was like, you need to breathe. But I couldn't. I could not take a deep breath. So what I want to tell you is how I survived and got out of the panic attack. If these tools align for you, I would love for you to use them because they were a game changer for me because it was in my toolbox. Because I practiced these things with my clients, I had the tools to get out of the panic attack within like 5 to 8 minutes. But it was still the scariest thing I've experienced physically so far, just losing control of my body. So while I was sitting there feeling the symptoms, I couldn't talk. I couldn't yell out for help. I couldn't look at my phone. So practicing these tools are going to be so important for you so that you have them in your toolbox. So what I did, I could not take a deep breath. I took my hands like a butterfly. It's the butterfly technique. And I placed it over my chest. And I began tapping left, right, left, right, left, right, left, right. Now I wasn't saying this. I couldn't talk. Very slowly, I just kept going left, right. So I want you to practice this. You can use this when you're not in an intense situation. This helps de-stress. It helps calm your system because it's bilateral stimulation. So you're using your left and right, the hemispheres of the brain, at the same time. If you're not in the middle of panic, you can put on some music and just begin to notice your breath. If you're in the height of panic, do your best, but find your breath. The deeper you can go into your belly button, it might just be like 1 second in because the depth is not going to be there. And you keep tapping until the sweat goes away, the nausea goes away, the dizziness is gone. You can focus your eyes, a nice soft gaze out in front of you. And you're going to begin to calm down. Your breath will begin to deepen. So I want you to stay with your breath after that. You keep tapping the chest, breathing into your belly. If it's 1 second in, 2 seconds exhale. So we want to double the exhale. If you can bring the inhale in for 2 seconds, then it's 4 seconds out. So as you slow it down, you're going to be able to bring in a little more inhale, exhale a little longer. So think about this. You may hyperventilate. What's happening is the balance, the oxygen and CO2 is off in the body. So you're actually getting rid of too much CO2, and the amount of oxygen in your body at that point is toxic. Oxygen can be toxic. Too much of anything in the body can, for the most part, be toxic. So in those situations, you want to slow the breath, but it can be so scary if you're hyperventilating that they say to cup your nose so that your CO2 that you're releasing quickly, because you're breathing, panting, you're going to breathe back in the CO2 and help regulate your levels so you start to feel better, so that you start to take slower, deeper breaths. So if you're hyperventilating or you feel like you just can't breathe, cup the nose, begin to breathe in the CO2 that you're releasing, or if you have a brown paper bag nearby, by chance, you would put that over your face, and you see that sometimes where people breathe into a bag. But that's why. Bringing in more CO2 to balance your levels so that you have a healthy balance of oxygen and CO2 at the same time. So whether you want to cup the face, if you feel like you're losing control of the breath and it's very panty, you're panting, But the best thing is to try the grounding techniques, the butterfly. Practice it when you're calm. Practice it in a normal situation so that you have the tools in your head and you're like, oh yeah, I got this. I can do this. I'm strong. There's things that need to release and I'm going to release those. And then after an experience like that, you need to rest. You need to drink water. You need to reach out to someone that can support you. So someone, whether it's a therapist, a family member, if it's a breathwork facilitator, someone to help work through the trauma that obviously needs to get out. It's showing up. There's something your body's telling you that needs released. And most likely that moment alone didn't just release it. So there's work to be done and you're not alone. So speaking from experience, yours may have been very different, but I think it helps to talk and normalize life and that you are strong. We go through crazy, crazy stuff and we conquer that one thing and then life's like, okay, here's the next thing. So we're building it. Healing is not linear. It looks like this and it's all over the place and we keep going. So I'm here for you. If you have any questions, reach out and stay tuned for more updates on breathwork, on meditation, on just healthy living habits. Thank you.